Hi, today we're going to be talking about the Circassian people of Russia. I mean, Turkey. Or Israel. Wait, back that up.
Who are the Circassians? The Circassians are an ethnic group from the North Caucasus and an area in southwest Russia, between the Black and Caspian Seas. They prided themselves on their communal way of life, one which revolved around hospitality.
Cue the Russo-Circassian War. In 1763, Russian authorities decided the Circassian lands of the northern Caucasus should be theirs. The community-driven Circassians rejected the ideas of a central Russian authority, resulting in a 101-year battle between the two groups.
Villages and crops were destroyed. Assassinations and executions of the Circassian people were employed, all ending with their surrender in 1864 and ultimately the mass expulsion of the ethnic group to the Ottoman Empire.
Today, the Circassian people can be found throughout the globe, including Syria, Jordan, Israel, and with the largest populations found in Turkey, where an estimated 6 million Circassians reside and a mere 720,000 remain in the homeland of Russia.
This is probably a great time to talk about a couple of important terms. First off, let's start talking about transnationalism.
Transnationalism can be described as both a social phenomenon as well as a research agenda. It is in many ways a byproduct of globalization, the increased interconnectivity of people and economies transcending the borders of nation-states.
Our assignment is to talk about Russia and the Circassians, but that is not where the heart of the story lies. The bulk of Circassians immigrated, or they left Russia, in the conflicts that we've already described. Now they live in a variety of other countries, in what we call the Circassian diaspora. The term diaspora refers to a population of people who have been moved from a shared original homeland.
How does the diaspora of the Circassian people affect their health and well-being, you might ask? Let's look at the trends surrounding the stateless people. For those Circassians who sought refuge in other areas, including Turkey, health status for many is being undermined by attitudes and policies which prey on the disadvantaged.
Circassians who sought refuge in areas such as Turkey have seen a loss of their culture. Many Circassians have been eager to assimilate in Turkey, thus leading to a decrease in cultural identity and a loss of their language among Circassians.
A new generation of Circassians are trying to reclaim their cultural identity and the right to learn their native language. A Circassian Academy was established in 2010 in Jordan, and classes are now offered in the Circassian native language.
Sure, we can mention the limited research surrounding specific health issues witnessed with these populations, such as high rates of diabetes and cardiovascular disease.
However, in order to fully understand the health behaviors of an ethnic group, one must look to cultural orientation.
So what's the problem? Well, first of all, stereotyping and inequality go hand in hand. Secondly, a group's cultural identity impacts the way in which they make decisions and behave, ultimately influencing health.
For example, culture can provide a framework to which we provide explanation for illness and for seeking treatment. So while the majority of Turkish people attribute health and illness to natural causes, traditional Circassians' attitudes look to folk theories to explain illness, such as acts of God, in which reading the Quran and living accordingly to religion promotes a healthy lifestyle. So how about the big picture? A broader perspective on how culture can impact health, it prevails in Turkish Circassians. And remember, this is where most of these people now call home.
Political attitudes in Turkey historically have not fared well for Circassians. Women specifically have been at the blunt end of policies which discriminate and which, at its root, manifests in the 7% difference in literacy rates between men and less literate women. At its peak, this becomes tangible with Turkey having the lowest life expectancy at birth for women among the 34 OECD countries, which is a 2002 statistic.
As far as education enrollment, girls of Turkish descent have approximately a 29% higher enrollment rate than their counterparts of other Circassian or Caucasian descent. We know that social determinants of health, things like income, education, employment, and social exclusion, have a major upstream impact on health outcomes. As you can imagine, the disparity in school enrollment is a red flag for the health of the Circassian diaspora.
It's worth mentioning as well that these inequities, including rampant socioeconomic disparity in Turkey, are most apparent in the regions that those of the Circassian ancestry populate most heavily. Now for some optimism on the situation. The political climate in Turkey is changing for the better. Successful social programs and policies including vast health transformation program have been revamping the healthcare system since 2003 in Turkey. Key to these developments are universal health insurance and greater patient rights.
Can transition last? Political instability in neighboring countries and global economic downturn puts all this progress at risk.
On top of this, political disenfranchisement adds another concern. Neither Turkish or Russian governments support the recent push by Circassian cultural revivalists to gain official recognition of the Circassian genocide. Apparently, economic relationships are too at stake for historical realities to become real.
And herein lies the fear: if these major political bodies can't support the Circassians for fear of embarrassment, what makes it more likely that if the health of Circassians decline due to the global economic crisis, patriarchy, that these governments will have Circassians' interest in mind?